There's no such thing as PTSD. There's no such thing as OCD. There's no such thing as ADHD. Those are noble lies. To basically give the excuse to, in the end of the day, to medicate people.
Let's medicate that guy with some caffeine. That is Pastor John MacArthur of Grace Community Church in Sun Valley, California, the area by the IKEA, as we call it. He goes into greater detail on PTSD. Take a look.
Take PTSD, for example. What that really is grief. You are fighting a war, you lost your buddies, you have a certain amount of survival guilt because you made it back, they didn't. How do you deal with the grief? Grief is a real thing, but grief is part of life. And if you can't navigate grief, you can't live life. But if you clinically define that, you can give them a pill, a series of medications, and they end up in LA homeless on the sidewalk.
This is an example of the Dunning Krueger Effect, where the dumber you are, the smarter you think you are, making smart people feel crazy. And it is horrible. Like, this is a guy, I'll also remind you, is a pastor. So he's like, you know what doesn't exist? PTSD. You know what does exist? Dinosaurs, humans living together till a flood, where this guy got all these animals together to bang each other in a boat somewhere. Also, there's like blood water, blood wine. There's salt people. Like, we gotta find out about this real stuff. Come to the church and not this BS. Like, you were traumatically, negatively experiencing something, and now you need help to get through it. That is a myth. That is wacky. But again, let me tell you about this one time. They rained bread after it rained frogs. I'm a pastor. John?
Yeah, I like, again, it's you mentioned Dunning Krueger. Like, there are things that people develop an expertise on through an entire lifetime of work. And in doing that lifetime of work and research, they know a tiny fraction of all of the collective knowledge that humanity has produced about that subject. And then some random idiot just says, I know more about all of that than you. Sometimes, like with Donald Trump, he's literally on tape having said that he's an expert in literally everything that is subject matter expertise. But this pastor has his sphere. His sphere is religion, it's faith, it's whatever. He's not a psychiatrist, he's not a psychologist, he's not a neurologist. Why can't those be their own thing? Like, isn't it in the Bible that, you give unto whoever their thing and then give up to God, his thing? Like, there are different areas, different domains. You don't have to be the ruler of literally everything. And maybe someone in your flock would benefit from the medication or from the therapy or from compassion and understanding. But also, instead you get that, and you're made weaker by having listened to him.
The thing that he described is just a mischaracterization of the thing that actually happens.
Yeah,
like, there's a lot of stuff you get medicated for that doesn't have to do with your PTSD, that doesn't have to do with, like, you get medicated for things that psychiatrists, not psychologists, psychiatrists diagnose you with. And sure, there's a bunch of misdiagnoses. He's conflating a bunch of like colloquialisms where they say, oh my God, my ADHD is so good today. Those people don't actually have ADHD. The people with ADHD have it. You know how they know? They talk to a doctor. And then also, the entire science of psychiatry is way behind like orthopedics because of weirdos like this who stigmatize it. So everybody's got to do catch up anyway. And the more you do that now, and then there's this is a small thing I'll say about conspiracy theories. Like, seldom is there a conspiracy. It's usually a bunch of tiny decisions that end up happening. And then folks step back and be like, oh, but what if it's all connected? I came up with a dynamite conspiracy theory that Reed Hastings, the inventor of Netflix, commissioned a bunch of shootings in movie theaters so he could get people to sign up for Netflix and watch movies at home. That was awesome to me. I want to write a whole script about it, but it's not true. A bunch of separate decisions were made. So ridiculous.
Yeah, I love that final point, because every time I see something like that, I just think, and it's not just pastors or whatever. stupid comments from politicians and from people like titans of industry. I just think like, what could we be like as a society, as a culture, as a civilization? We could certainly be better than we are, but unfortunately, we are like trying to move forward with 1,000 weights lashed to us.